There is a reason you clicked on this reading, and I do not think it was random. Something around this connection has felt different lately, but not in a loud or dramatic way. It is more like a quiet change in the air, the kind of change you notice before you fully understand it. Maybe you have been trying to go through your day normally, but a small feeling keeps coming back, almost like your spirit is tapping you gently and saying, "Pay attention, something has shifted here." Maybe nothing obvious happened in front of you. Maybe they did not send a message, confess anything, or make some big move that would give you clear proof. Maybe from the outside, everything still looks the same. And that is what has made you question yourself. But even without clear evidence, your body has been sensing something. It may have shown up as a sudden thought about them, a strange heaviness in your chest, a feeling of being watched energetically, or simply a quiet knowing that something is not exactly where it was before. And this is how intuition often works. It does not always arrive with noise, drama, or perfect timing. Sometimes it comes softly, through a mood, a pause, a dream, a sudden memory, or a feeling you cannot explain with logic. Your mind may still be asking for proof, but your deeper self has already noticed a change. Today's reading is about that kind of quiet shift, the kind that begins under the surface before anything becomes visible. Before I go deeper into today's reading, I just want to share a small personal update with you. In one of my recent videos, I told you that my father has not been well. And honestly, he still has not started feeling better yet. It has been a heavy time for me and my family, but I am trying to stay strong and keep showing up here with a peaceful heart. So if you can, please say a small prayer for my father's health. Even one kind thought from your heart would mean so much to me. Thank you for always being so loving and supportive. Now, coming back to this energy, what I feel is very specific. Someone connected to you had a private moment recently, maybe last night or very close to that time, where something inside them became harder to ignore. I am not saying they are breaking down, losing control, or suddenly unable to function, because that would be too much. What I feel is more realistic. This is someone who thought they had a feeling under control, and then a quiet moment showed them that the feeling was still there. This person may be very good at looking calm. They may know how to act normal even when something is moving inside them. They may use silence, work, pride, humor, distance, or distraction to keep their emotions from rising too close to the surface. To other people, they may seem fine, but their energy does not feel fully relaxed. It feels like someone trying to remain steady after being reminded of something they did not want to feel too deeply. There is a difference between being calm and trying to appear calm. Real calm has softness in it. It does not need to prove anything. But performed calm has tension inside it, and people who are sensitive can feel that tension. You may not know exactly what changed, but you can sense that the way they are holding themselves is not as natural as before. Their silence may feel heavier, their distance may feel less peaceful, and their casual energy may feel a little too carefully managed. This person may have told themselves a story about you that made everything easier to handle. Maybe they said this connection was not that serious, or that it was just a phase, or that time would make the feeling fade. Maybe they convinced themselves they could place you in the past and keep moving forward without looking back too much. For a while, that story may have helped them avoid the deeper truth. But recently, something made that story feel less believable. It could have been a memory, a conversation, a dream, your name coming up, a place that reminded them of you, or a quiet moment when their mind finally stopped being busy. Sometimes people do not feel the full weight of a connection while everything is active. They feel it later when the noise is gone and they are alone with their own thoughts. That is the kind of moment I am feeling here. Nothing huge had to happen outside. The real shift happened inside. And the reason this matters is because once someone becomes aware of a feeling, they cannot fully go back to pretending it does not exist. They can still hide it, of course. They can still act normal, keep quiet, and choose not to speak. But something inside them now knows. That awareness becomes a small pressure. It sits behind their words, behind their silence, behind the way they check on your energy without making it obvious. I feel this person is trying to understand why you still affect them. They may not be using those exact words, but that is the energy. They are asking themselves why a thought of you stayed longer than expected, why a small reminder created a bigger reaction, or why the distance did not create as much emotional freedom as they assumed it would. It is not a dramatic realization, but it is an uncomfortable one. It makes them look at the connection differently. For some of you, this person has been trying to keep you in a safe place in their mind. Not too close, not completely gone, just somewhere they could still think about you without having to make a decision. That kind of emotional middle ground can feel comfortable for a person who avoids vulnerability. They can care without admitting too much. They can miss you without acting. They can stay connected in energy while keeping their real life behavior controlled. But the problem with that middle ground is that it does not stay comfortable forever. At some point, the heart wants clarity, even if the mind is scared of it. At some point, distance stops feeling like control and starts feeling like unfinished business. That is the energy I am picking up now. This person is starting to feel the cost of keeping everything unspoken. They may still be cautious, but their old way of handling the connection is not giving them the same relief anymore. You may have felt this before they did anything clear. Maybe your mood shifted for no obvious reason. Maybe you suddenly felt their energy around you again. Maybe you felt calm one moment and then strangely emotional the next. When a connection has emotional weight, the energy between two people can move before words arrive. That does not mean you should overthink every feeling, but it does mean you should not dismiss your intuition just because there is no physical proof yet. I also feel that some of you have been doubting yourself because this situation has not been simple. When someone gives mixed energy, it can make even a strong person question their own perception. You may have wondered if you are imagining the signs, hoping too much, or making meaning out of small things because you still care. That kind of self-questioning is very common when the other person has not been clear. The confusion does not always come from your heart. Sometimes it comes from their inconsistency. So let me say this gently. You are not wrong for feeling that something changed. You are not foolish for sensing a shift before it becomes visible. You are not weak because this connection still speaks to a part of you. What matters is that you stay balanced. Trusting your intuition does not mean abandoning your common sense. Feeling their energy does not mean waiting forever. Believing something is shifting does not mean you ignore your own peace. There is a mature way to hold this reading, and that is the way I want you to receive it. Something may be moving inside them, but your life should not stop because of it. Their awareness is not your responsibility to manage. Their silence is not your burden to carry. Their fear does not become your job to fix. You can feel what is happening without giving your entire emotional world back to the situation. Now, after sitting with this energy, I do feel some kind of movement coming. It may not be a big confession or a perfect conversation, so please do not expect it to arrive like a movie scene. It feels more like a small opening, a message that seems simple but carries a different tone, a check-in that feels more personal than usual, a quiet attempt to get your attention, a softening in their behavior, something that shows they are testing the space between you. When that happens, try not to rush ahead in your mind. A small opening can matter, but it is still only the beginning. Let it unfold. Do not take one message and build an entire future from it. Do not ignore it either if your intuition says there is sincerity behind it. Just stay present. Let their actions continue speaking. If the shift is real, it will not disappear after one moment. It will begin to show a pattern. This is where your self-respect becomes important. You can be kind without becoming too available too quickly. You can respond without chasing. You can listen without doing all the emotional work. If they are coming toward you, let them take actual steps. You do not have to carry them across the bridge just because you understand why they are scared. Understanding someone is beautiful, but it should not become an excuse for accepting half effort. Some of you are very good at reading between the lines. You can feel what a person means before they say it. You can sense fear, regret, sadness, and longing underneath someone's behavior. That is a gift, but it can also make you do too much. You may start translating their silence, explaining their distance, or forgiving their confusion before they have taken responsibility for it. This time, let them meet you with more than energy. Let them meet you with behavior. Now, my loves, if this reading is already connecting with what you have been feeling, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I waited before asking because I wanted you to feel the message first, not feel pressured at the beginning. But if this space gives you comfort, clarity, or even one sentence that helps your heart breathe, your support truly helps me keep showing up here. And if you feel guided, comment, "I trust what I feel." Not just for the reading, but for yourself, because sometimes your heart needs permission to believe its own quiet knowing. Thank you for being here. Let us continue, because there is another layer I want to talk about. This person may be realizing that your energy was not as easy to replace as they thought. I do not mean that in an exaggerated way, as if nobody else exists or nobody else matters. I mean that there was something specific about the way you made them feel. Maybe it was your warmth, your patience, your understanding, your honesty, or the way you saw through them without making them feel judged. Sometimes, people only recognize the value of a presence after that presence becomes less available. When you were close, they may have assumed your care would always be there. When you were patient, they may have thought they had more time. When you tried to understand them, they may not have realized how rare that was. But when your energy became quieter, calmer, or more focused on yourself, they may have started feeling the difference. This does not mean you should pull away as a strategy. That becomes another kind of game, and your heart deserves better than that. The real power is not in pretending to be distant. The real power is in returning to yourself. When you stop chasing because you are tired of losing peace, your energy changes naturally. When you stop explaining because clarity should not have to be begged for, your presence becomes more grounded. When you stop overgiving, your value becomes easier to see. I feel this is part of what affected them. They may have sensed that you are not standing in the exact same place emotionally. Maybe you still care, but your energy is not leaning forward in the same way. Maybe you are still open, but not as available to confusion. Maybe you have started choosing peace in small ways. And even if you did not announce it, they felt the change. People often feel energetic shifts before they understand them. This may have created a quiet question inside them. They may be wondering where they stand with you now. They may be asking themselves if you still care, if you are moving on, or if they waited too long to show what they felt. That question can make someone cautious. It can make them want to reach out but hesitate. It can make them test the water instead of jumping in. It can make their next move feel simple on the surface but loaded underneath. If they do come forward, their words may not be perfect. They may not suddenly say everything you once wished they would say. People who have been guarded for a long time often begin with small steps. They may ask how you are, bring up something familiar, react to something, or create a casual reason to talk. The important thing is not only what they say, but whether the energy behind it feels more honest than before. Still, I want you to remember that interest and intention are different. Someone can be curious about you and still not be ready. Someone can miss your energy and still avoid responsibility. Someone can feel regret and still struggle to communicate. That is why you should not hand over your peace at the first sign of movement. Let their effort become consistent before you decide what it means. A person who only wants emotional comfort may come close when they feel your absence, then pull back once they feel secure again. A person who is genuinely becoming more aware will usually show more care, more steadiness, and more respect over time. The difference may not be obvious in one moment, but it becomes clear through a pattern. Watch the pattern. That will tell you more than one soft message ever could. I feel that you have already learned many lessons through this connection. Some of them may have been painful. You may have learned not to ignore your own needs. You may have learned that chemistry is not the same as safety. You may have learned that a deep feeling still needs clear communication. You may have learned that waiting for someone to choose you can quietly pull you away from choosing yourself. These lessons were not easy, but they were not wasted. Now you are being guided to respond from a different version of yourself. Not the version that panics when they pull away. Not the version that over-explains because silence makes you anxious. Not the version that accepts crumbs because the connection feels strong. This newer version of you can breathe before responding. This version can feel deeply without losing balance. This version can care and still ask, is this good for my peace? That question matters. Does this bring peace? Or does it bring the same old confusion? Does this person seem more honest? Or are they only repeating familiar patterns with softer words? Do you feel respected? Or do you feel like you are being pulled back into uncertainty? Your body will often know the answer before your mind admits it. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them, not only during the moment. Sometimes a connection can feel exciting in the moment, but heavy afterward. That is important information. Peace is not boring when you have known confusion for too long. Peace can feel unfamiliar at first, but it is what your heart actually needs. If this person is truly moving toward you in a healthier way, the energy should begin to feel calmer, not more chaotic. It should create clarity, not make you question yourself even more. I also feel a quiet regret around this person. Not the loud kind where someone makes a dramatic apology right away, but the kind that shows up when they look back and realize they may have handled things poorly. They may remember moments when they could have been more honest. They may think about times when they acted unaffected while knowing there was more inside them. They may be realizing that their silence had an impact. Regret can be uncomfortable because it asks a person to face themselves. It is easier to say, I did what I had to do, than to admit, I may have hurt someone who cared about me. This person may not be fully ready to say that out loud, but the thought is moving around their energy. That is why they may approach indirectly at first. They may want to reconnect without immediately opening the heavier conversation. If that happens, do not force the truth out of them. Let the space reveal what is real. You can be warm, but you do not have to do the emotional labor for both people. If they are serious, they will continue showing up. If they only want temporary comfort, that will become clear too. Your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to stay honest with yourself while the outcome becomes visible. For some of you, this reading may bring hope. For others, it may bring closure. Both are valid. Maybe this person's shift leads to a real conversation. Maybe it only confirms what your intuition already knew. Maybe you do not need them to come back for your heart to feel free. Maybe you simply needed to know that you are not imagining the weight of this connection. Sometimes clarity does not come from someone else's confession. Sometimes it comes from trusting your own experience. You do not need their perfect words to prove your value. You do not need their regret to make your love meaningful. You do not need their return to confirm that your presence mattered. You mattered while you were giving love. You mattered when you were trying to understand. You mattered even when they did not know how to meet you properly. Their ability to recognize your value is not what creates your value. That is something I want you to carry with you. If they come forward, you are already whole. If they stay silent, you are still whole. If they admit what they feel, it may bring clarity, but it does not create your worth. You are not waiting to become important. You are important now. The right person does not make you beg for emotional safety. The right connection does not require you to disappear from yourself. As this energy unfolds, keep your life moving. Do not pause your healing. Do not sit around waiting for a notification. Do not make their next step the center of your whole day. If something is meant to reach you, it will reach you while you are still living. Let them feel the space. Let them decide what they are willing to do with their awareness. Let the truth show itself without you chasing it down. There is a simple sentence I want you to keep in your heart. Let the truth reveal itself. You do not have to drag it into the light. You do not have to decorate it with hope. You do not have to deny it out of fear. Just let it reveal itself through time, behavior, consistency, and how your spirit feels when the energy becomes clearer. The truth does not need to be forced when it is ready to be seen. This person may be trying not to show what changed, but energy has a way of speaking anyway. Their calm may feel different. Their silence may carry more weight. Their attention may return in small ways. Their words may be simple, but the feeling behind them may not be simple. Still, your role is not to decode every detail until you exhaust yourself. Your role is to stay grounded enough to notice what is real without losing yourself in it. If they take a step, let it be one step. If they take another, observe that too. If they become consistent, you will know. If they disappear back into old behavior, you will know that as well. Either way, you are not powerless. You have choice. You have wisdom. You have the right to decide what kind of energy you allow close to your heart. I feel the biggest message here is not only that they are shifting, it is that you are shifting too. You are becoming less willing to live inside confusion. You are learning that emotional depth needs emotional respect. You are understanding that strong chemistry is not enough without clarity. You are no longer the same person who would accept uncertainty just because the connection felt rare. That growth is quiet, but it is powerful. So, yes, something may have changed recently. A private moment may have made this person more aware of what they feel. They may be trying to hide it, soften it, or explain it away. They may come forward carefully, not dramatically. But whatever they do next, I want you to remain close to yourself. Do not trade your peace for a possibility. Do not lower your standards for a sign. Do not confuse hidden feelings with healthy effort. Let them show you what this shift really means. Let their actions become clearer than their energy. Let consistency answer the questions that anxiety keeps asking. And while that happens, keep taking care of yourself. Keep praying for what brings peace. Keep choosing the version of you that does not abandon herself or himself for another person's uncertainty. As we close this reading, I want you to breathe and come back into your own body. You felt something because something moved, but that does not mean you have to run after it. You can trust your intuition and still move slowly. You can care about this person and still protect your peace. You can leave the door open without standing beside it all night. That is balance. That is growth. That is the kind of love that includes you too. Thank you for being here with me today. Please keep my father in your prayers if you can, because my family and I really need that kindness right now. And for your own heart, remember this. The person who truly belongs in your life will not only feel your value in silence, they will learn how to honor it in the open.